Saint Bernard, Mountain Rescuer by Jessica Rudolph. Katie goes to work. When kids go to the Interlochen Public Library in Michigan, they usually expect to find books, magazines, and DVDs. What they don't expect to find is Katie, a 130-pound, 59-kilogram Saint Bernard. Katie loves to give kisses and to be petted. However, she has an important job to do at the library. Katie visits the library once a month with her owner, Donald Williams. Katie is a therapy dog. She works at the library encouraging children to read books. She also helps those who have trouble reading. To do this, Katie simply sits patiently by a child's side as he or she reads. Kids don't feel embarrassed if they make a mistake, such as stumbling over a word. Katie doesn't laugh or make them feel bad. She just listens to them. Therapy dogs often visit patients in nursing homes and hospitals. Their job is to cheer up people. Some therapy dogs help people practice skills, such as throwing and catching a ball, that will make their bodies stronger. Katie listens to a child read at the Interlochen Public Library. A good listener. Jeanette Grice is the director of the Interlochen Public Library. She says Katie helps kids feel comfortable and welcome when they come to the library. With a furry friend around, kids are able to relax and enjoy reading rather than fear it. Over time, they become better readers. Because of Katie's help, Jeanette says, the kids just love her. Katie, shown here with Jeanette Grice left, and a young reader, likes to give lots of kisses to the children who read to her. The relationship Katie has with the children that come to the library is typical of a Saint Bernard. These dogs are known for being gentle, calm, and well-behaved. While they have many good traits, perhaps the most important one is that they love helping people. Katie is not the only dog that works at the Interlochen Public Library. She is sometimes joined by Denny, a Welsh Corgi that also listens to children read. Katie and her pal Denny at the library. Mountain Rescuer. Saint Bernards, or Saints, first started helping people in Switzerland hundreds of years ago. They pulled heavy dairy carts and worked as guard dogs for farmers. Then, in the 1600s, these farm dogs began working with the monks, who ran the Saint Bernard Hospice. Saint Bernards got their start hundreds of years ago in Switzerland, a country in Europe. For hundreds of years, Swiss farmers used the strong Saint Bernards to pull carts filled with milk to be delivered to customers. Located high in the mountains of Switzerland, the hospice is a safe place for people to rest as they travel over the dangerous Swiss Alps. The temperature in this area can dip to minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 29 degrees Celsius. Mounds of snow can be 30 feet, 9 meters deep. It's easy for people to get lost or buried in the snow and freeze to death. In the 1600s, after snowstorms or avalanches, the hospice monks would go out looking for the lost or injured. They took along the farm dogs to help them rescue these travelers. Today, Saint Bernards still live with the monks at the hospice during certain times of the year. However, they are no longer used for rescue work. Monks used to allow travelers to stay and eat at the Saint Bernard Hospice for free. This photo, from the 1930s, shows a monk and a Saint Bernard demonstrating how to rescue a traveler buried under snow. Lifesavers. Saint Bernards were perfectly suited for rescue work. Their thick fur kept them warm, allowing them to stay outside for hours without freezing. Their great sense of smell helped them locate lost or hurt travelers. Their huge muscular bodies cleared paths in the deep snow when they walked, allowing the monks and travelers to easily follow behind them. The dogs could even sense when an avalanche was about to occur. A Saint Bernard's thick fur helps it stay warm in cold weather more easily than some other types of dogs. Artists used to show Saint Bernards with small barrels filled with a type of alcohol called brandy tied around their necks. People used to think brandy would warm up travelers lost in the snow. The monks, however, say that the dogs never carried barrels on rescues. Sometimes, small groups of dogs went on rescue missions without human help. If the dogs found a person buried under snow, they dug the traveler out with their massive paws. Then one dog would lie on top of the person to keep him or her warm. The other dogs would race back to the hospice to get help. In over 200 years, the Saint Bernards saved more than 2,000 people. Saint Bernards got their name in the 1800s. Before then, They were known by many different names, such as hospice dogs, St. Bernard Mastiffs, mountain dogs, and Swiss Alpine dogs. St. Bernards can smell a person up to 2 miles, 3.2 kilometers away, and find someone buried under 14 feet, 4.3 meters, of snow. The most famous St. Bernard at the hospice was Barry, shown here. He rescued more than 40 people in the Swiss Alps in the early 1800s. Giant pets. Today's St. Bernards are different than their ancestors in many ways. For example, these dogs no longer perform rescue work in the Swiss Alps. Instead, they have become lovable family pets. Modern-day St. Bernards also look different than the old mountain rescuers. They have wider heads and shorter muzzles. They're also bigger. In fact, they're enormous. A saint's head can be as big as a basketball. St. Bernards are one of the largest of all dog breeds. On average, adult male saints are about 30 inches, 76 centimeters, tall at the shoulder, and typically weigh between 160 and 180 pounds, 73 and 82 kilograms. That's about the same weight as an average human adult male. As rescue dogs, saints used their large size to help them clear paths in snowy weather. As pets, however, their big size can sometimes get these lovable giants into trouble. For example, they're tall enough to grab food off counters. If they're not careful, a flick of their tails can easily knock plates off a table. St. Bernard owners need to keep a careful eye on their pets to make sure they stay out of trouble. St. Bernards became popular in the 1800s when people around the world learned about the heroic dogs of the St. Bernard Hospice. Saints were first brought to the United States as pets in the 1880s. St. Bernards can easily get to food left out on counters and tables. When standing on 2 legs, St. Bernards can be as tall as their owners. The long and short of it. St. Bernards have one of 2 kinds of coats, long-haired or short-haired. Hundreds of years ago, all saints were short-haired. In 1830, the Swiss monks bred their dogs with Newfoundlands, a dog breed with long hair. They hoped longer hair would keep the dogs warmer in harsh weather. Unfortunately, when out in the cold searching for travelers, clumps of ice formed on the long-haired saint's fluffy fur. The extra weight from the ice slowed them down, so the monks gave away the long-haired dogs to farmers and went back to breeding only short-haired dogs for rescue work. Short-haired St. Bernards, left, were bred with Newfoundlands, middle, to create long-haired St. Bernards, right, with long, silky fur. Both types of saints still exist today, however, whether long or short-haired. Saints can have the same coat colors and markings. Most have some white fur on their chests, necks, feet, tails, and muzzles. Colored patches of fur on their bodies can be several shades of red or brown. Dark fur around the eyes and ears creates a mask on many saints. The Swiss monks first got their idea to breed long-haired St. Bernards after many of their short-haired dogs died while doing rescue work during extremely cold winters in the early 1800s. This St. Bernard has a half mask. That means it has dark-colored fur around only one eye. This St. Bernard has a hospice ear, which means his ear has some white fur on it. Loving and lazy. St. Bernards make great family pets for many reasons. They're sweet, affectionate, and love to be around people. When their families come home, saints like to greet them with slobbery kisses. St. Bernards are very tolerant of children, too. They seem to enjoy hugs from kids. They're patient even if a child accidentally steps on a paw or pulls their fur. St. Bernards can live with different kinds of pets. Despite its size, a saint often lets a much smaller animal, such as a cat or smaller dog, be the boss of the house. St. Bernards love to give kisses. Saints are also known for being laid back. Although very playful as puppies, adults are less active. Sleeping is one of their favorite activities. Unless trained not to, St. Bernards will take naps on beds and sofas. They often seek out a person to snuggle with at bedtime. Saints prefer to nap with a pal. Fast-growing puppies. It's hard to believe, but St. Bernards start out very small. At birth, they weigh just over 1 pound, 0.5 kilograms. At first, the puppies are helpless. Their eyes are closed, and they can only crawl. They spend their days sleeping and drinking milk from their mother's body. Within a few weeks, though, the puppies in a litter gain enough strength to start jumping and playing with one another. When they're first born, long-haired St. Bernard puppies look just like the short-haired puppies. It can take up to 6 weeks for the long-haired puppy's fur to grow out and fluff up. St. Bernard puppies grow quickly. However, it can take up to 3 years for them to reach full size. Saint litters are large, usually made up of about 8 to 10 puppies. This litter has 13 pups. Saint pups grow quickly. By 8 weeks, they're already about 15 to 20 pounds, 6.8 to 9 kilograms. That's the size of a full-grown Cocker Spaniel dog. At this age, the puppies are ready to become part of a human family. 8-week-old pups with their mother. Quick learners. Training is a must for St. Bernard puppies as soon as they're brought to their new homes. Without it, the adorable balls of fur soon become huge and hard to control. A 6-month-old puppy with no training is so big that it could easily knock someone down. Luckily, Saints are very smart and eager to please. They can quickly learn not to jump on people and to walk on a leash without pulling. If Saints aren't trained, they could be the ones taking their owners for a walk. To begin their training, owners should teach their dogs commands such as sit and come. Saints are sensitive, though. Their feelings can get hurt if they're yelled at. So owners should speak gently to their pets and use treats or praise during training. Owners should also get their pets used to seeing and hearing new things, such as cars. By doing this, their dogs will quickly learn to adjust to new experiences. A St. Bernard in California named Hercules was taught to fetch the newspaper in the morning for his owner. However, Hercules learned too well. He not only got his owner's paper, but started fetching all the neighbors' newspapers too. Saints are sometimes a little slow to follow a command they know, such as sit. This doesn't mean they're not smart. They just need a bit more time to move their large bodies. Hercules. Working hard. St. Bernards can learn a lot more than simple commands. Some are taught to pull carts, just like their ancestors used to do in Switzerland. These Saints show off their skills in drafting competitions. During these events, St. Bernards pull heavy carts while following commands. The dogs have to stop, change speed, and make sharp turns without letting the cart fall over. Only the steadiest dogs win. Some Saints compete in weight-pulling competitions. In these events, the dogs pull carts on wheels or snow sleds that are weighted down. More and more weight is added until the dogs can no longer pull the carts or sleds. A St. Bernard competing in a drafting event. While some St. Bernards compete in drafting competitions, others are used in advertisements to help sell products, such as cereal, oranges, and chocolate. Still other St. Bernards star in movies. Beethoven, a film that was made in 1992, is one of the most well-known movies featuring this giant breed. It is about a destructive but lovable St. Bernard and his family. A poster from the movie Beethoven. A St. Bernard in an ad for cereal. Still helping people. Katie, the St. Bernard from the Interlaken Public Library, is not the only big dog that likes working with children. Penny is another St. Bernard that spends her time helping the young. Penny works as a service dog for Nathan, a boy with autism. Nathan with his mom and Penny. Sometimes Nathan can get into unsafe situations. For instance, he might try to run away from his mother into a busy street. However, Penny is there to keep Nathan safe. She's attached to him with a harness. If Nathan tries to run away, Penny stays very still and keeps Nathan from moving. She stays this way until Nathan has calmed down. Before Penny, Nathan couldn't enjoy some activities with his family because they were often too dangerous. Now, with Penny to keep him safe, Nathan can go camping and hiking with his parents and sister. Penny helps keep Nathan from wandering away. Big responsibilities, big rewards. A person who is thinking about getting a Saint as a pet should know that a big dog is a big responsibility. St. Bernards eat a lot of food. As a result, they need to be taken outside often so they can go to the bathroom. They drool and shed more than some other dog breeds too. So owners need to clean up after them more than they would with other types of dogs. Daily exercise and lots of attention are also needed to keep Saints healthy and happy. Saint Bernards usually live 8 to 10 years. Those that are fed well, exercised daily, and taken to the veterinarian regularly may live even longer. Owners need to brush their dog's hair every day. Most Saints look forward to this daily brushing. For people who want to take on these responsibilities, Saint Bernards offer big rewards. Their size and sweet expressions attract attention wherever they go. At home, they're loyal, caring, and good-natured. For the right person, a Saint Bernard can provide years of loving friendship. Saint Bernards at a glance. Weight: males, 160 to 180 pounds. Females, 110 to 150 pounds. Height at shoulder: males, 29 to 32 inches. Females, 26 to 29 inches. Coat hair: short, thick, and smooth, or long hair that's straight or wavy. Colors: white with different shades of red or brown. Country of origin: Switzerland. Lifespan: about 8 to 10 years. Personality: gentle, friendly, playful, calm, even under stress, eager to please, enjoys the company of people and other animals. Best in show. What makes a great Saint Bernard? Every owner knows that his or her dog is special. Judges in dog shows, however, look very carefully at a Saint Bernard's appearance and behavior. Here are some of the things they look for. Long, heavy tail that hangs straight down, sometimes slightly curved at the end. Behavior: calm, gentle, friendly. Ears set high with a rounded triangular shape. Dark brown eyes with an intelligent and friendly expression. Large, wide head, slightly curved on top. Broad black nose with wide open nostrils. Short and straight muzzle. Long or short coat, white markings on the chest, feet, tip of tail, muzzle, and neck, with colored patches that can be red or brown, never one color, or without white. Powerful, muscular body and legs. Large, round feet with high-set knuckles and thick pads.